The killing of a sacred deer. In this universe, cosmic justice isn't poetic, it's mathematical. A surgeon named Stephen Murphy performs an operation while drunk. A patient dies. And now the scales must be balanced. But this isn't about guilt or redemption. It's about equations. Martin, the dead man's son, isn't the villain here. He's just the messenger, informing Stephen of the universal law. His children will lose the ability to walk, then to eat, then they'll bleed from their eyes, and finally they'll die. Unless Stephen kills one family member by his own hand. There's no negotiating with this law. No pleading or bargaining can change the equation. The universe simply waits, completely indifferent to Stephen's tears and protest. When he finally spins in circles, blindfolded, firing his rifle at his own family, he's not making a choice. He's admitting that choice was always an illusion. The real horror? The universe doesn't even acknowledge his sacrifice. It simply balances its cosmic ledger and moves on to the next calculation. Your suffering isn't special here, it's just math. Enemy. You're Adam, a history teacher with a boring life. Then one day you notice him. Your exact double, down to the scar on your chest. He has your face but a different name. Your body but different habits. When you touch him, he feels solid. When you follow him home, his wife mistakes you for him. But this isn't just a story about finding your doppelganger. The horror runs deeper. As Adam and Anthony's lives begin to blur together, same taste in women, same apartment layout, same wounds appearing simultaneously, you realize identity itself is unstable. Those giant spiders occasionally crawling across Toronto's skyline aren't hallucinations. They're glimpses of the web connecting all things. The crushing revelation? Perhaps you aren't the original at all. Perhaps you're the copy who has forgotten being copied. Or worse, perhaps neither of you is the original. Both just fragments of something that split long ago. Your personality, your memories, your desires, all as fragile and temporary as a spider's web. And when your wife enters the bedroom and finds a giant arachnid where you should be, her scream isn't fear, but recognition of what you've always been beneath the skin. Segmented, multiplied, utterly inhuman. Under the skin, she looks human but doesn't move quite right. Her eyes track movement with predatory precision. When she brings men back to her apartment, they sink into black liquid while still aroused, still believing they're about to have sex. Their bodies are hollowed out, skin a deflated sack, organs harvested while they're still conscious. The alien woman doesn't need mind control or superior strength. She simply leverages male sexual hunger against itself. Scotland's misty landscapes become hunting grounds, each roadside conversation a sample collection. But the true dread emerges when she begins to study her own stolen skin. As she examines her body in mirrors, touches her face with growing curiosity, something shifts. The hunter develops empathy. And this is when the universe reveals its cruelest law. Understanding humanity makes her vulnerable to humanity's violence. When she finally reaches toward genuine connection, men immediately punish this vulnerability. They set her on fire, tear away her human disguise, and reveal the truth. Her impression of humanity was always just skin deep, and beneath that skin lies something so alien that its mere existence is intolerable to us. Men. Every man in the village has the same face. The police officer, the priest, the teenager, the barkeep, all variations on a single template. At first, you think it's your trauma distorting your perception. Then you realize, no, this is reality itself, warping around your grief. Harper retreats to the countryside after her husband's suicide, but the boundary between her inner landscape and the external world dissolves. The men who torment her aren't random. They're reflections of her guilt, manifestations of patriarchal pressure given flesh. Nature isn't nurturing but recursive, endlessly reproducing the same patterns of birth and violation. The Green Man carvings in the church aren't decorative but prophetic. When the vicar places his hand on Harper's and asks if she secretly wanted her husband to die, the question comes from somewhere ancient, a voice that predates Christianity itself. The horrifying climax isn't just body horror for shock value. As you witness the Greenhow man's grotesque self-impregnations, his birth that tear his body open only to produce another version of himself, you understand that this isn't supernatural. It's the literal visualization of how violence propagates. And when he finally offers his newborn self to Harper with a gesture of exhausted peace, you realize that accepting this offering is the only way to break the cycle. False positive. The doctor's smile never reaches his eyes. His fertility clinic is pristine, his procedures cutting edge, but something crawls beneath the surface of his reassurances. When pregnancy finally takes, when Lucy's belly swells with twins, one girl, one boy, she should feel ecstatic. Instead, something whispering just below conscious thought tells her that her body is no longer her own. As Lucy navigates her miracle pregnancy, the fertility clinic transforms from sanctuary to prison. Dr. Hindle isn't just her doctor, but her husband's old mentor, their relationship excluding her from decisions about her own body. The gaslighting intensifies with each prenatal visit. Her concerns are dismissed as hormones, her suspicions as paranoia. When she sees something wrong with the sonogram, the image is quickly changed. When she questions the medication, another needle is already being prepared. What cuts deeper than any conspiracy about experimental procedures isn't the medical violation. It's the bitter truth that motherhood doesn't grant her authority, but rather strips it away. The medical establishment, her husband, even other mothers, all speak for her, over her, about her. And when she finally holds her surviving daughter, covered in blood and surrounded by the carnage of her rebellion, the most horrifying truth becomes clear. Bringing new life into this system doesn't change it. It merely provides the next generation of vessels, lamb. The sheep in the barn are watching you. Their eyes follow as you bottle feed the lamb child, their silence heavy with judgment. She has a lamb's head, but a human body, tiny fingers grasping yours as you wash her, dress her, name her Ada. You and your husband don't discuss where she came from or what she is. The answers wouldn't change your love. As Maria and Ingvar raise Ada to fill the void left by their deceased child, the mountains surrounding their isolated Icelandic farm grow more oppressive, the mist thicker with unspoken warning. The cat watches from corners. The dog whines in confusion. The sheep bleat in mournful chorus when Ada sleeps. The natural order hasn't been broken but bent, and something in the wilderness is calculating the force required to make it snap back into place. Nature permits your interference but never forgives it. When the true father finally appears walking upright with a sheep's head upon a man's body, his retrieval of Ada isn't malicious but mathematical. Your tears don't matter. Your loss doesn't register. The cosmic equation simply rebalances itself, leaving you once again with empty arms in a silent farmhouse, punished not for being cruel but for daring to find joy in something that was never yours to love. Pearl. The farmhouse gleams with artificial perfection. Pearl polishes each surface until it reflects her smile, feeds the animals with mechanical precision, and practices her dance routine in the barn with desperate energy. But beneath her performances of normalcy, something is rotting. When she impales a duck with a pitchfork, her smile doesn't falter. When she feeds her paralyzed father, the spoon sometimes misses his mouth deliberately. As Pearl dreams of escaping to become a chorus girl, the Spanish flu pandemic rages beyond the farm borders. Her mother's German accent makes her a target in World War I America. Her husband fights overseas while she starves for any form of connection. The projectionist who shows her stag films doesn't see her growing madness, but merely another farm girl to manipulate. When she performs her audition dance, her face stretches into an unsettling smile held too long, the desperation visible to everyone but herself. What ultimately terrifies isn't witnessing a woman's breakdown, but recognizing the uncomfortable truth. Her madness was always there, cultivated by isolation, wartime paranoia, and thwarted desire. When she finally sits down to dinner with the family she's murdered, arranging their corpses in a grotesque pantomime of normalcy, you realize she hasn't transformed into something monstrous. She simply stopped pretending to be something she never was. Life After Beth. Beth's funeral was yesterday, but today she's back. Dirt under her fingernails. No memory of dying hungry in ways that can't be satisfied with food. Her parents treat her return as a miracle, ignoring the smell of decay, the mood swings, her growing obsession with attics and smooth jazz. You were her boyfriend. You know she should be dead, but when she kisses you, you kiss back. As Zach watches Beth's gradual decomposition, her skin blistering in sunlight, her behavior growing more erratic, her strength increasing as her mind deteriorates, the town itself begins to unravel. Other dead return. Normality stretches to accommodate impossibility. The gas station attendant serves customers with a bullet hole in his head. The old piano teacher gives lessons with broken fingers. Each resurrected person fixates on something they left unfinished. A job, a relationship, a mundane task now performed with religious dedication. The story's bitter wisdom isn't that the dead return, it's that loving anyone means eventually watching them become unrecognizable, whether through death, disease, or the simple passage of time. When you finally take Beth to the beach she always wanted to visit, strapped to your back as she deteriorates into mindless hunger, her body a burden you literally carry, you understand that this wasn't about getting her back. It was about learning how to let her go.